Hi there, my name is Thomas Martell, and today we're going to be talking about ethics. We're going to define ethics, talk about the elements of ethics, and then also talk about how it pertains to my future career. So to start off with about myself, I'm a general science major at Del Tech, and I'm going to be transferring to a four-year institution after I get my associates, in which I will be striving to become a dietitian with a bachelor's in nutrition science. So to start this off, we're going to define ethics. And ethics is also known as moral philosophy, and it's the study of what is morally good or bad and right or wrong, and how this affects humans socially and personally. So, talking about ethics in a broader sense. So let's talk about some of the elements of ethics. And the first thing I want to talk about is the main four sections of ethics. One, descriptive, then normative, meta, and applied. And these all four serve to utilize the inquisitive aspect of philosophy and funnel that into a practical use. So, for instance, in the scientific method is used in descriptive ethics. Moral judgments are considered in normative ethics, and specific situational cases are considered in applied ethics. And also, the cruciality to critical thinking and common sense is used a lot in ethics. So there's a few different laws that pertain to this. The first one is the preeminence of reason, and this basically talks about how ethics involves critical reasoning. This is using common moral judgments, moral experiences from history, things of that nature. Next is the universal perspective. And that states a moral statement should apply to all similar situations. So basically, there's very few one-trick ponies. If anything falls within the certain jurisdiction of being, here's a situation similar, here's another one, that rule should apply to both. The next one is the principle of impartiality. And this states that all individuals should be given equal weight in consideration for moral judgment. This is important due to the fact of we're all human beings, and when it comes to things such as ethics, all of us should be given equal opportunity to be looked over and considered. Next is the dominance of moral norms, and this states that moral norms should triumph over non-moral norms. And basically, this says that if ethically you feel like it's right to do something, even though society says it's not, you should listen to your moral code and reasoning over what society says. Now that we've discussed the elements of ethics, I'd like to talk about a little bit more about myself and my future and how ethics pertains to that. So, as I said before, I plan on becoming a dietitian, so ethics will actually come up pretty frequently for me. There's a few scenarios where situations will come up about debates where people have past experiences and they come to me and they say, well, should I do this? Should I do that? So, for example, one thing is a common question of, is being overweight a bad thing? So, to start that off, you can look at it from a biological perspective, which is what I would take, where you could say how it shortens your lifespan. It's an unnatural way for your body to be. Your body is programmed to be at a certain body fat percentage, generally between 12 to 19% for males and a little bit higher for women. It's bad for mating purposes if you look at the anthropological perspective. It's also bad for raising children because you have less energy to give and to devote. And then if you look at it from the other side of why it would be a good thing, or an okay thing at least, to be overweight, you can look at that the person can focus more on their career, their hobbies and interests, and relationships potentially, rather than focus on what they're eating or how often they're exercising, things of that nature. So that kind of plays on the flip side, and I know that would come up often, but I think generally that the biological perspective and possibly noting the natural law theory would sway a lot of people into seeing why being an overweight is a truly bad thing for people. Another one that comes up is the debate of I'm thin, but I eat whatever I want, and why should I change that? Well, the reason that I would say that one should change this is because you're more susceptible to long-term issues such as heart attacks, blood clots, Also things like liver and kidney disease, and other long-term issues that will lead to more end-of-life care or a higher chance of sudden death. And then the other person would probably say things like, well, my genetics allow me to not have to care about this as much. I'm just going to live my life and focus on things other than diet and exercise because socially there's no real need for me to focus on things like that. I mean, I'm obviously healthy, look at me. And this comes in more of a perspective of, well, society deems that it's all right, but really physically and what is scientifically known, it's not what's good for you. So that kind of plays on the dominance of moral norms, where morally you know that's not the right thing to do, even though society says that you look fine. So those are a couple of the situations that I would face in my career, and I know that I'll face many more in my span. But just want to talk about a few of those various ethical dilemmas that I'd have to face, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'll just say about that. All right, well, thank you very much. Again, my name's Thomas Martell, and I appreciate the time, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.